7:02. Let's get started. Everybody has a life and so many things going on. And so I'm going to keep this very brief. I'm like so freaking excited for what I'm going to share. And it's just, it's fun. Cody, I think, has been with me the longest on this journey. He was doing some work with me coaching before I was ever even a hypnotherapist. So thanks for hanging out with me so long, Cody.
Heck yeah, glad to be here.
For those of you that have known me and been with me for a while, you know that my courses have evolved. You also know how ADHD I am, and I never think to turn on my do not disturb until I get a couple dings on my computer, and then I'm like, all right, let's do not disturb. Okay, so that's done now. For people that don't know me, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, I'm Ruthie Renee. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I also do life coaching, and in the mixture of coaching and hypnosis, I use EFT, NLP, and intuition, and we just have a lot of fun growing. What I love to do most is teach, and it's been a while. I've been able to be on stage just a couple of times the last year, but we were shut down with COVID for a while. So I do love public speaking. If you ever need a public speaker, somebody to teach a class in your whatever group, keep me in mind, reach out, and I always think that's so much fun. So that's a little bit about me. What I have moved into. So here's what I found. I love doing one-on-one sessions with people. I love seeing the breakthroughs. I love seeing the progress. However, I had my own miracle a year and a half ago, major life shift. And I actually did a interview with somebody who has a YouTube channel all about miracles. So I'll post that story when he finishes editing up, and you can hear my whole long story about how I hit the Mexican drug cartel by accident. And that shifted my life into a path where I am living my dream and reunited with the love of my life from 30 years ago. And what happened then was that I didn't want to be as busy with clients. I love all of my clients, but I wanted to share every moment I could with him and in this new amazing life. And I found this hunger for reaching more people. Most people do end up doing the line of work because of themselves and what they found and what they long for, what they need. And I'm just like that. I came from a long line of depression, anxiety. I don't want certain people to hear me in the background, but I was 9 the first time I tried to commit suicide. Luckily, I wasn't very good at it. And that progressed into some autoimmune disorders and some health problems and lots of exhaustion and, having to things that I didn't know at the time were all from my own making. It was from my own head, and I created the mess that I was in. Finally, I was able to find many steps along the 25-year process that led me to where I am now. And my biggest desire is to help people move quickly through their own awakening so that they can get to the reality that they actually want. And that's why my course name for Self-Hypnosis course is called Create Your Own Reality, or just create your reality, because you really can. It's frustrating and angering and depressing and all the things when you realize that oh my gosh, I've done this to myself. I've put myself right here and I created my reality. However, once you have that awareness, you learn the steps that you can change it. And it is so freaking exciting. I have a few people that have already been through my course in here, and I'm so excited that you're here. And I have asked my last year's scholarship recipient to say a few words, but just to put it out there, if anybody else has an impression that they want to share, just let me know in the chat and I'll give you the mic for a minute. Remembering that this is recorded and will probably stay on Facebook and maybe go out on YouTube. So if you want to just put something in the chat, that's totally fine too. Anyway, no expectations. So what I'm going to do tonight is just open up, excuse me, I'm going to open up my website. I'm going to share my screen and show you exactly what you can expect in the self-hypnosis course. Hold on, wait a second. Let me back up just a minute, because if you're seeing this and you're not even sure what hypnosis is or what self-hypnosis, what's the difference? Let me explain very briefly. And if you want more information, I'm going to actually pop onto my YouTube channel where I have a number of free trainings and you can learn more and then decide if you want to dive in. Okay, but if you're here watching this, I'm guessing you're already kind of curious and the bottom line, hypnosis is a very normal state of mind. We find ourselves in a hypnotic state numerous times throughout the day. And I'm not going to get into the details of when or why. However, a few of the ones that you most likely can relate to is when you're watching a movie or TV, when you're watching the programming. It's not called programming on accidents. It's literally programming. So you sit down, you want to unwind, you relax, and you kind of dissolve that conscious, forward focus effort. Like if you're in a classroom right now, you're watching me, you're listening to me, you've never heard this before. And so you're in your forward conscious mind. When you're watching TV and it doesn't really matter, you're not going to take a test, it's just entertainment, you're going to drift back into your imagination. Why? Because it's fun. You want to relate to the characters on TV. It's more believable if you can pretend you're a part of the movie, whatever you're watching. So that's a hypnotic state. Also, when you're driving, for those of us who drive and you're on your way somewhere, but then you start thinking about something else, and before you know it, you end up at work or at school. You're like, what? I didn't. It's because you were in a hypnotic state and you move to autopilot. So there's another, for instance, that's another video games very easily. Sometimes in books, when we're reading a really good novel, you just get into the story. Also, when, I hope this isn't happening right now, but when you're listening to something rather dull or boring, like a professor or teacher that just drones on in a very monotone voice, and maybe you haven't gotten enough sleep, and so before you know it, you're looking out the window or you're staring at your shoes and you're going off into your imagination, you're daydreaming. That's a hypnotic state. Okay, so enough of the ideas. So it's just a normal state of mind. However, when you're in that softened state of mind, you're very open to suggestion. And it's also easier for you to look at things without having the amygdala hijack or the intense emotion around something. So that's why we want to get into a hypnotic state to do some work, some repair, to decide, oh, this thing that I learned that I believed was true for most of my life because I learned it when I was 3, that's not very helpful. Let's reverse that. Let's change it. Let's implant something in our subconscious that's more helpful. So those are some of the reasons why we want to use self-hypnosis or go see a hypnotist or hypnotherapist. I just got a squirrel. Let me pull it back. Oh, why would it be helpful for you to learn self-hypnosis? One tip is that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if you decide to work with me one-on-one, I can't hypnotize you. I can give you certain steps to help you get into a hypnotic state, but only you can relax your mind and get into that hypnotic state, that natural, relaxed state. So even though I may be asking questions and leading you through a story or something like that, it's still you that's doing the work. So that's why we call it self-hypnosis. Learning the tools so that you understand the brain better gives you the empowerment to work on something in the moment. You also, if you're a parent, you can understand how to help your children so that they don't grow up and have all of the things that you are now trying to unravel. So those are two very good reasons: saving time, saving money, giving yourself the empowerment to do the work on your own. However, there are times when I myself will still use a hypnotherapist when I just am too close to the whatever, I'm just not getting it. So don't be discouraged, even if you went through the whole course and you still feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on, I'm stuck here. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so those are some of the reasons why it might be useful to join or learn about hypnosis, self-hypnosis. Oh, another really good reason, I actually have another group with, I don't know if you've noticed, there are, this virus that's been going around the last couple of years. Some of us have had a harder time than others, and some have had really severe injuries because of either that virus or the immunization because for that, and there are side effects. So sometimes, and it might not even be that, maybe you have found out that you have an autoimmune, maybe you have some pain or discomfort or something going on with your body that you don't even know what it is. Maybe the doctors are stumped. Joe Dispenza, if you don't know about him, you can Google him. He is probably the largest leader that I know that uses hypnosis specifically to help people heal their bodies. And you can go to super expensive retreats specifically to do that. I know exactly how he does it, and that's what we learn in this course. Before I show you a little bit about the course, I've asked, Annie was the recipient. Sometimes my mouth doesn't work with what my brain tells it to do. She was the recipient of our scholarship last year, and I just have loved to watch her journey, her growth, and she has agreed to share a little bit of her experience with you guys. If you guys want to see more of the story, I actually have a video interview with Annie on YouTube, and it's just beautiful. So, okay, go ahead, Annie.
Okay. I'm actually friends with your sister here in town, and she told me about the course and had me watch the little video that you did prior to the course and mentioned the scholarship. And I literally waited 24 hours before I sent the email because I was like, I don't know if I should file this out or what. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And finally, I just did it. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell anybody. And I'm just going to do it because if I tell somebody and I don't get it, then that's going to be devastating to have to backtrack it all. So I went ahead and just sent it in. And then when I found out I got it, I just immediately started crying. And I couldn't stop. And my husband's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I did something and I got it. He just still has no idea what I'm talking about. So I explained a little bit to him and all of that. And then he's just like, okay, we'll figure this out, He's used to me jumping off the deep end and doing something dumb. So we
Except
figured
this
out,
time it wasn't dumb at all.
yeah. we figured out how to make it work and fit it into my schedule, and we managed to get all that taken care of. And then as I was going through the course, some of it is things I've heard and learned from, like, my mother, after I grew up and left the house, went through a whole bunch of her own processes and therapies and things like that. So some things I'd heard come from her. And so as I was going through the courses, these were things I had been hearing here and there, but never really understood them. And the more I learned, the more of a draw it was to where it was me coming up with the answers and me solving the problems. It wasn't somebody from outside telling me, okay, this is what's wrong with you, and here's how we're going to fix it. Because that doesn't function for me. And I found things throughout the course that I would have never even imagined were giving me problems. And for most of the course, I kept going back to literally the day I was born. I was born very premature, 4 pounds. I lived in a box for 10 days. And in those 10 days, I had made so many decisions that have affected my life that I'm still trying to unravel it. But going through the process, I've been able to like whittle them down one by one by one. They keep getting smaller and smaller and fewer disturbances in my life. I've been able to do so. And so it has drastically helped over something that I didn't even know would affect my life as much as it has.
That is awesome. And that I love that you said that right at the end, that you didn't even know that these things were affecting your life. And you'll hear me if you've been in my Facebook group for a time or listened to any of my videos, you've heard me say it before. Your problem is almost never your problem. And we come up with these things like, for instance, Annie's problem, and you'll see this is also in a part of the course, because it was so good. I put it into the module. She thought her problem was organization. She had some boxes that she wanted to organize in a front room, and moving through the process, she discovered there were all these other things and it wasn't that at all. She was actually extremely organized. And so that's kind of how the subconscious mind works. We feel a feeling and we don't quite know what it is. So we look outside of ourselves and we're like, that it's my husband. He's the one that's making me sad. When it does nothing to do with him, or the boxes, or there's numerous things. It could be time management, relationships with our body. There's so many things. And so thanks for sharing, Annie. I really appreciate that. It's fun to watch everybody's journey. And in a moment, I'll share a little bit about what other, whoops. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to take a look. When you get the DIY version of the self-hypnosis course, you get 2 different parts and you have all of these modules. Now, when we think self-hypnosis, so many of my clients or students want to jump right into, okay, give me the skills. I'm going to manifest money. I'm going to do this. I want the perfect husband. I want this house. We have tangible things that we think we want. However, if you jump right into doing that, which you can, you might be surprised at what you get. And I share, I think in one of these, a couple of times, I share the story of why that's important. And super briefly, one of my clients had she wanted to manifest a husband. She had a whole dream. Her reality that she wanted was a husband, a cute little cottage, chickens, rabbits, white picket fence, flowers in a garden. And she made a vision board and she thought about it and she did all the things and she got everything right down to the white picket fence. The problem was she was looking for these certain things and not being specific. And so she ended up, the husband she got was an ogre. Pretty sure he really was an ogre. He was like a white Shrek. And it wasn't really what she was expecting. And the house that she got was a little too cramped for her and her children. And there were a number of things that very quickly showed her, wow, I got everything I wanted and I'm still not happy. What's the problem? So understanding these first few modules really well is going to put your brain in the right space to actually get what you really want instead of some of the topical things we think we want. Does that make sense? So we start off really understanding hypnosis, the brain, the conscious and the subconscious mind, and then we learn about ourselves. And the best way to learn about ourselves and see your triggers come up is by setting a goal. So we will set a goal. If you guys aren't like goals, get over it. Because I mean, you don't have to do it. This is all on you. This part is for you to go through on your own. And then we have our meetings every week. We will have a Zoom call where anybody that has questions or wants to be coached can pop on. So you do what you want, but I will say, if you follow the course outline the way it's designed, even like Annie said, she heard a lot of this stuff. Most of my clients have heard a lot of this stuff. You know why? It's not new. It's like going back to biblical days or probably before that. These aren't this, as a man thinketh, so is he. That's scriptures. So it's the way, the pattern and the progression of putting all of the things together is where you're going to uncover the most and be able to make the most progress. So we need to understand ourselves. We need to understand what we're looking for and why we've chosen the reality that we're in right now. If you're in my Conscious Creators Facebook group, you'll recognize these, or if you've been on my YouTube channel, because I've shared these with everybody for free. But these are really good rules of the mind to understand how it works and why you are doing things the way they are. You are. And then we get more into just some more understanding around the way the brain works. So diving more into the way the brain works, our language, we spend a lot of time on language because language is important. Your brain is listening and we don't recognize it, but like understanding language with affirmations. Lots of people make affirmations. And if you're saying things that are not coming across well, you're going to get the wrong results. For instance, if you want more money, or the way you design it, you might say your focus is, I want $10,000 more. I want $10,000 more. I have 10,000. You do all the things and you feel it and you get $10,000 more. And then you total your car, which takes your $10,000 more. You have a hospital bill or whatever. So understanding the language around what you're doing is super important. And then we get into emotions. I know the whole world is talking more about emotions now, but going through this manifestation model, this is the one where I share the dialogue that we had in last year's course with Annie as the model. And this is just going to be super helpful for you to understand your thinking and the emotions and how it plays into how you show up in life. So all of these things are super important to get before we get into the hypnosis. Now I've got a number of modules specifically on tools of hypnosis. We learn how to do timeline therapy. We learn how to do age regression. We learn how to do scripts if you want to just write a script and then listen to it as a guided meditation. So there will be plenty of that. And you have me. So now this is, I don't know if I can go backwards. Let's see. Okay. So if you come on to my website, Quantum Field Trips, and you click on the courses, you've got 2 to choose from. If you click on Create Your Reality, this is a DIY. It's going to tell you all about it. You get to watch a video. Actually, maybe this is a good time to what? Let's just hear what some other people have to say.
Would anybody love to share their experience of any shifting, any aha moments, any Lisa, yes.
What I realized is my conflict in creating my own reality has a lot to do with how I've decided others influence that reality. So it created this conflict that I didn't have a right or say in my life. But then with all these breakdowns and realizations, I've seen the necessity, like when it comes down to agency, how I actually need to have a say. And even if it means consulting with God or not, I need to be more deliberate. Otherwise, I fall victim to my own lack of being intentional. And so this is, I feel like it's a lesson I learned repeatedly, but this time I feel like I'm figuring out the root causes underneath it that have been holding me back. And I'm really, really excited about implementing so much more now of really transforming my reality. Because I see the blocks, and with the blocks comes this gift to be able to know what to do with it now and how to transform those thoughts. So that's been my breakdown and my breakthrough, and I'm excited now. And it came, but I didn't realize how much it was stopping me. So I'm so much more grateful and excited and have this. I mean, the why came together. Everything is just falling into place. So thank you.
Great job, Lisa, for figuring that out and seeing that, and that will just rocket shoot you into the rest of your life, always being able to go and figure those things out. Who else?
Posted a picture of what the first week of my life looked like. I was born as a premature child, 4 pounds. My lungs collapsed when I was born. I still carry physical scars from that day.
Okay.
And I went through the process, and I found I had to forgive doctors. I had to forgive them. It took me a couple of days to deal with it. But I was able to just let all of it go. And I just found it so funny that it had absolutely nothing to do with cleaning a room or being organized or anything. And it was just like, okay, you're wanting to deal with this. Let's deal with this today. And it wasn't even the direction I was thinking at the time.
That is awesome. It's crazy how many times, and I'd say when you really get down to the seed, it 98% of the time is not what you think it is. It's always this random, oh, what? That was so good job for digging that far back and finding the root. And do you feel like you have closure, you have healing around that?
Yes.
Good. That's so important. Anybody else want to share?
I will. So I've had kind of the same experience as Annie with, it seemed like the stuff coming up for me had nothing to do with my goal. I feel like things are coming full circle, and I can see how the things that have been coming up for me to clear, they're all things from my childhood. They're all things from my little childhood, things that I didn't even know that was there, that were holding me back and, causing me to have formed some beliefs about myself and about the world that just are not true. And with each of the things that have come up for me to clear, I can see how it's like unpacking that backpack of heavy rocks, and it just gets lighter and lighter. And so there's less dialogue going on in my mind, less voices saying you can't do this, or you shouldn't do this, or you're not going to be good at this. All those little voices, they're starting to pipe down now. And so, but it's interesting because it took me a while to realize that they were all related to what I was trying to accomplish with my goal. I had to get rid of this stuff so I can really focus on my goal.
Yeah.
And doing what I want to do.
There,
And it's getting easier. The more often I go through the process, the quicker I go through the process, and the quicker it is to recognize what it is I need to recognize.
thank you. That is so true. And I know I've said that before, but I've done this for a long time. So I just want everybody to see there's another person proof. The more you do the process, it doesn't always have to be so hard. Once your brain understands how to do it, it's like the training wheels, and then you take the training wheels off and you're like, bam, got it.
Okay. I think at the beginning of this whole adventure in self-hypnosis, I've wanted to run away from my home. I would drive down the road thinking, oh, that looks like a good tree to live under. Oh, I'd like to live behind that bush. And since then, I've had a couple processes where I've just been getting this enlightenment that the reason I want to run away is because I feel like I'm at my babysitter's house. I'm even really good at directions because when I was being raised by babysitters, I would think, how could I get home? As I need to escape.
And so fun that you shared just after I shared that, like, when we feel like we're acting like a child, well, it's because we are. So now have you done the process with any of those? Have you been able to go back and talk to young Joyce that felt like she always had to run away or wanted to?
Yeah, and actually, I found out that Jesus is my home. I belong wherever he is with me, wherever he puts me. So I can feel like I am fulfilling my purpose and mission right where I am right now and not feel like I have to escape it. Like, you've heard of stories of prisoners and their life in prison or something, and they feel completely in freedom right there in their jail cell. And so, yeah, that's right. So.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And that gave me chills, by the way. So you have figured out a way to recognize I have everything I need. I always have. I've always been home.
Yeah, now that's a new affirmation for me. One thing, it was picking an affirmation that actually triggered me to have the root insight. And so it was worthwhile to do that exercise, so worth it.
Yay! Hey, okay. So everybody that hasn't done the affirmation exercise, do the affirmation exercise because you might find things to clear up, and wow, your world changes once you start unloading that backpack, right? That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
I have a thought. I learned something today. I always thought that if you wanted to change your reality, change your feeling, because then you'll attract more of what you're feeling because of the energy vibration match.
Yeah.
Now I realize if you just change your feeling, you're covering up that thought. It's still there. It's still going to pop up. But if you change your thought, then you've grown.
Yes. And then you don't even have to worry about forcing the emotion to change vibration so you get what you want. It just happens. You flow right on up there. So it makes it easy. I'm so glad. Thank you. Yay! Pat yourself on the back. I love those ahas. And that is exactly, you just stated, 95% of the work in manifestation. Because you can draw charts about vibration, here's your goal, and you go all of the things. And it comes down to my thoughts. Because your thoughts are the beginning of the creation of everything.
I just want to say this was amazing. Annie, thank you so much. And I appreciate all that you shared. And I could relate, and I had some aha moments because of it. And Ruthie, this class has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad you've had a good time.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I have, in this 1 hour that we've gone through this, it put together everything that I have learned from maybe 10 years of studying and learning about the power of our thoughts, the power of our emotions, our past and how that affects us through mental health therapists and through coaches and through mindfulness coaching, all of the things that I love, that I've learned about how to live a powerful life and how to create the life, the person that we want to create. It's in this 1 hour that you done. So I'm just amazed at how you tied it all together. It kind of summarized all the things that I have learned and that I love, that I see just the value of it and the power of it.
I'm so glad you were here today, Carrie. Thank you for sharing. It is, everything that we learn in our lives, it's like I was talking about perpetual transmutation. You've got all these bits in your brain and all around you, and now we start connecting the dots and we make it more solidified. And by the end of these 8 weeks, we've got 5 more left. It's gonna pop outside of you, and that's your new reality.
Okay. Oh, I'm not muted. Okay, so that was just some fun stories that some of the clients in the students in the last group were able to share, and that was so fun. Okay, so that was a little bit about the course and understanding the process. It's the process. I've spent many years and dollars getting this process together that I'm ready to share with you. All right. Okay. So a course like this, I was looking into some different places. I found this limbic system rewire course that is pretty cool. $4,000 or you can make payments. You can go to Joe Dispenza's, are way less expensive than they used to be. They used to be like $10,000 and now it's $2,000, which is pretty cool. I just might have to pop into one of those. And you also have to buy one of his courses before you can go to one of his events. If you went to my self-hypnosis course, let's just sign me up. If you just do this online, then it's going to spin and it's $2,000. However, wait, was this? Oh, just side note, I wanted to make you aware that I do have a YouTube channel and there are playlists if you need some good guided meditations. There are a number of them here that you can listen to. I've gotten great reviews and stories from people on that. There's also a number of like training videos here for free as well. But to have everything together and do the guided course, the nice thing about the guided course, you guys, is that you have all the modules, but you also have the group. And we learn so much from each other. So we have, we'll have our Facebook group, and then you can ask questions, you can share successes, you can share stories, and you have all the modules right there in the guides to go through them. And I might just, for people that don't like to be on Facebook, I can just give you the link to the course group in the website as well. So now we have all of that. And now what many people are probably thinking about is, okay, how do I get a scholarship? $2,000 is a lot of money. And for some people, it may be. By the way, that's a relative thought. $2,000 might be a lot for somebody, and it might be just throwaway cash for somebody else. We don't know. But because I know it's a large amount of money for some people, I created the scholarship. And this past month, after I decided, I'd done some interviews with some of my past students, and that's what got me so excited to get a group together again. It's just so beneficial for me as well as the students. And I kept going back to my first big course that I wanted to take. It was about $2,500, and I didn't have an extra $5. And so I really wanted the scholarship. And they last time I asked people to send me emails and let me know why you deserve a scholarship. And that's what Annie did. And it just touched my heart. And she's the one that won. So I did the same thing. And I was doing my best to manifest it. And I just was so hopeful, and I felt all the feelings, and it was so good. And I was in a room with about 2,000 people, and I wore my bright pink blouse so that I would be noticed. And I sat just waiting for him to call my name. And he didn't. And I was devastated because I was ready. I had done so much healing myself, and I was ready to share with the world. I wanted to help people, and I just knew I couldn't afford it. And I went to the bathroom and I cried for about 10 minutes and tried to pull myself together. I was like, okay, what are these thoughts? And what am I going to do about it? And I guess I'm just going to go to work. I've never gotten a handout before. I'm just going to work for it. And I found a way to get what I wanted. However, I don't want you to have to wait that long if it's something that you need right now in your life. And so I'm going to do something really new this time. And I've never done it before, and I'm so freaking excited. I want everyone to have a scholarship. So, and I think that since I'm pinned, I don't think you can see anybody else, but I totally just saw, huh? So what I'm going to do this time around, starting in June, because I want a large group and I want as many people to be available to learn as are able, as want to. Now there's an exchange, a value exchange, and there always is. When you don't have any skin in the game, you don't really worry about it. I've paid for courses and done nothing. In fact, I have a writer's course that I paid like $500 for 3 years ago, and I haven't watched the first module. So it really doesn't matter how much money you spend or don't spend. It matters what your commitment is. And I know that. I believe that. And I'm just going to put my faith in everybody here and test my theory that if I open it up for a donation basis, pay what you can. If you can pay $20 and that's all you have, and that's going to stretch you, then I'm going to give you every bit as attention as the person that can pay the $2,000. And if you're doing well through this interesting time in our world, well, then great. I'm happy to receive your payment, but I'm going to let that be determined by you. I'm not going to place a monetary value on what you will receive, because in my mind, it's priceless. And if you can talk to my students that have done the work, I would probably, anybody want to give a thumbs up? It's you get so much more than the monetary value you put into it, but that's your choice. Yes, I got some thumbs up. That is determined by your level of how in the game are you. So I'm going to, and also anybody that has already been through my course, I don't want you to even think about paying. I want you to come back for free. You've already paid. I want you to come back around again so that we can have the camaraderie. And if, oh, Cody says these classes are amazing. Thank you, Cody. I want the, what is it called when you have somebody is expecting you to do something? Your accountability partners. That's why doing this in a group is so beneficial. So if this is something that you're interested in, I would encourage you to think about who is going to be a great accountability partner for you. Reach out to them, show them this video, make sure they're in on it, because if they're not interested, then they're going to just pull you down. But think about somebody in your life that really is ready and needs a positive change in their life. And we'll be that group to support you in that. So do I have, before I let you go on with your life, I think I've shared everything. Oh, okay. So how would you get enrolled? I have it two ways. You can, and I'll put this in the notes, in my Facebook group is Conscious Creators, and you can look that up. If I put this on YouTube, I'll put it in the show notes or put a picture up. So that's where I'm going to have the material. You can reach out to me via Facebook. You can email me, ruthierenee@gmail, RUTHIERENAE. Make sure I know how to spell my name, @gmail. And I would love to know that, yes, I'm all in. The next course starts in June. We're going to have, as soon as you decide and you reach out to me and let me know, then I'll get you enrolled. And I'm going to, if you don't want to wait till June, as soon as I get your commitment, then I will give you the material to start learning. So there's that. Is there anything else? Do we have any questions before I let you move on through the night in your life? Is anybody excited? And does anybody, I already put Annie on the spot. Is there any, and Cody, there's just a couple more people that are here that were here before. So there you have it. Go to my YouTube channel to get started looking at some of the free videos. What day would the group meet? Great question. Right now I'm leaning towards Friday, lunchtime. So, and all of the live Zooms will be recorded just like this one, and they'll be posted in our group.